Hello everyone, I am Urshneet Corselli, a third year medical student at AIIMS New Delhi. I am currently the Director of Marketing and Sponsorship in AMSA India for the tenure of 2022-23, and we welcome you to our very first AMSA India podcast. Knowledge, action, and friendship are the three principles of AMSA India, as we all know, and via this podcast, we extend our way of friendship and a bit of knowledge with our members. So today we have Dr. Avi Singh with us, who's a dedicated enthusiast with a prolific academic record, exceptional organizational experiences, and a team player. He's a public speaker with naturalistic communication skills, a passionate poet, and an ardent pursuer of art with 31 poems and publication across 9 books. So he's a multi-talented guy. He's currently the Indian ambassador for Global Neuroscience Association. He is also a fellow AMSA India member and the former vice president for internal affairs at AMSA India 2020-2021. Adding to his list of achievements is the fact that he scored 259 in USMLE Step 1, 261 in Step 2, and 247 in Step 3. He's been a university and a state topper in MBBS and a gold medalist in anatomy. That's not all. He had also secured All India rank 1 in AFMC Pune and All India rank 68 in the AIIMS undergraduate exam in the year 2015. This talk is regarding his journey in MBBS right till his USMLE steps. So we welcome you, Dr. Avi Singh.
Really glad that AMSA is doing this. It's a unique venture. Podcasts have been an important part of a lot of people, especially students, from academics to life tips. And बहुत खूबसूरत initiative है. So kudos to you for not being afraid of something new. And I think this is a good way we can reach out to people in a very personal way, in not something that looks very formal, not a lecture, not a panel discussion. This is a way to connect with people के जो तुम जिस चीज के थ्रू जा रहे हो, that is the same problem that everyone has gone through. So looking forward to it. All the very best to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I would also like to thank the पूरी marketing team हमारी, Urshneet Corselli, Tanpin Singh Batra, and many more people behind जिन्होंने पूरा इसको build करने में हमें help किया है. And as AMSA stands for Knowledge, Action, Friendship, so this is one of our way to connect with you guys so that आप और अच्छे से जान सकें चीजों को. So moving forward, Dr. Avi Singh के बारे में there's a thing that he scored All India rank 1 AFMC Pune in the year 2015 and All India rank 68 AIIMS New Delhi. However, he chose to be starting his MBBS career from GMC Amritsar. So this is something that is very contrast about you. Would you like to say something about it?
So this incident apparently got very popular during my time, and us time it was not the right kind of popular. And so honestly, how things turned out, I believe the first 10-15 rankers hote hain, it's a matter of the day, besides obviously hard work, dedication, but they're kind of on the same scale and pedestal. And हाँ, एक norm है that obviously you give it your best shot to go into AIIMS New Delhi because that is the premier institute in the country, right? Similarly, AFMC and so on and so forth. So I had the same problems. I had the same journey. During my AIPMT, हमारे time 2015 batch के, we had to give 2 AIPMTs. Since then, तो I think norm ही बन गया. And उस time हर course I think VMMC I gave a different exam. So I gave 13 different exams. And since I got like All India, I think I scored All India 73 and I was getting all colleges except VMMC during that time and AIIMS New Delhi. So I had my mom and she was like, Acha, ye nahi pasand aaya. KEM Mumbai I went, then I got upgraded to UCMS and then we were all wishing ke chalo VMMC mil jaye, fir wahan chale jayenge. And then I got a rank in VMMC and then I was like, बात नहीं बन रही, मजा नहीं आ रहा. And similarly this thing happened with a lot of colleges from CMC Ludhiana to UCMS to KEM to AFMC Pune to AIIMS Jodhpur. And one thing that I realized was the fact that colleges are amazing and exceptional, not necessarily because of other things, but because the toppers, the rankers go there. So the crux of that college is made by the students. This is exactly at the heart of it. So definitely one thing that does make a difference is the amount of exposure you get. आपके intellect के आपको लोग ज़्यादा मिलते हैं. And GMC Amritsar was one college jahan se both my mom and dad have done their own MBBS. So they always had this in their mind ke chalo, you will probably go somewhere else and everything. But I think by the time, I think we are all 18, 17, 19 years of age during that time, and puberty hit kar rahi hoti hai, bahut sari realizations ho rahi hoti hain life. I think I was always strong enough to know how I work, what are my priorities, what I want in life. So my sister did tell me one thing, like, because VMMC mein you get this very important benefit of securing a PG quota, which is really, really helpful in the long run. But I always knew that I want to be someone who wants to like go out of the country. I want to pursue USMLE. And I did not want that temptation के मुझे कम पढ़ाई के कारण एक PG में कोटा मिल जाएगा, and that should be my reason to stay somewhere. So I was like, जाना होगा दोबारा पढ़ाई कर ली जाएगी. So let's see what works for me. And this is not saying that one place is worse or one place is good, but you have to know what works for you. And I am glad that I took this decision, which was due to a lot of factors, but I think regret is something that is born to kill your present potential. If you want to find negativities, you will find negativities in all your decisions. If you want to look at the bright side, you will find that. So just think that whatever you have been through, wherever you are, that is because of every incident that came your way, and live your life through it. And I think the fact that I could go to these colleges helped me think, oh, it's not that people are necessarily better than I am. You have to grow yourself. So I tried to be a part of various organizations. AMSA is at the heart of it. And all of that helped me grow as a person wherever I was. So it's not as much about the college as much how you want to make yourself as a person.
Basically, यही trend रहा है कि generally if you secure a very good rank in AIIMS Delhi, people definitely go there. And I got to know about your story and I was blown away. जब मुझे पता चला कि like someone is choosing the like hometown का college है GMC Amritsar and not going there, and I read that article on the White Coat Project as well, and that was very motivating. Moving forward, क्या USMLE का plan आपका हमेशा से था?
So मैं इसे कैसे देखता हूँ कि I have been someone who does plan stuff, but I really don't put my eggs in one basket, in the sense कि there have been times हम सबकी जिंदगी में जब हम सब कुछ plan करके बैठे हैं, from a very little thing to going on a college trip which has been planned for 3 months, and on the very last day all your friends back out, right?
Exactly, yes.
So there will be days जब तुम्हारे लिए जो plans हैं तुमने जो खुद बनाए और जो God ने तुम्हारे लिए plans बनाए, they are not in sync. So you need to be prepared of what can happen, can be very out of synchrony of what you want from life. But at the same time, that shouldn't stop you from thinking what you want and working in that direction. जो भी तुम choose कर रहे हो, be it USMLE, be it PLAB, be it NEET PG, find a good justification for it and stop thinking which is better or which is worse, because ये question ही गलत है. जो तुम्हारे को USMLE ऑफर कर रहा है वो बहुत अलग है, जो तुम्हें PLAB ऑफर कर रहा है वो बहुत अलग है, और जो तुम्हें NEET PG ऑफर कर रहा है वो बहुत अलग है. प्रोज कॉन्स तीनों में है अपने अपने. तुम्हारे को जिंदगी से क्या चाहिए, ये सवाल होना चाहिए. एंड I was fortunate enough to have discovered my love for neurology at during my second, third year of college, when I used to teach my colleagues like how circle of Willis is not 2-dimensional, how it is 3-dimensional. And those spark in people's eyes that, oh, I can do this, I can teach it to people, and I like it. I can do this for the rest of my life. So one reason I chose USMLE was big time because US offers neurology directly. So I can save some time there. The second reason was I think that I personally, I don't consider like I'm running away from my country. I think I'm still very much Indian at my heart, who would love to serve my country, but I want to have all the resources that I can help it the best possible way. I think not just in a clinically oriented setting, India, because of the population, because of the setup, 90% of being a doctor means being in the clinic or being practicing. Outside, they have the privilege of advancing into research, into education, and being a doctor at the same time. So these were 3 skills which were very important to me. So the plan is to excel in all these fields, learn as much about education, about research, and hopefully contribute to wellness of the world, including India. So that is how USMLE came about. But अगर मुझे hypothetically, like my dad is an orthopedic surgeon and I had a strong calling for being an orthopedic surgeon at one time, I would have chosen to be in India because one, I can start doing surgeries and practicing alongside him like the very next day, which I already have as well. And the second thing, like for USMLE, nothing is impossible, but the fact is surgery is difficult, right? It takes time.
Yes.
If I have a strong enough calling, oh, I can give my 7 years, I don't have an issue with that. I would go to US and pursue surgery. But like for me, I think I don't feel for surgery as strongly as I do for neurology. So I don't think it's a valid decision in my head कि अगर मुझे surgery करनी है तो भी मैं US क्यों जा रहा हूँ? Because frankly, India has so many patients, and for me, a surgeon is as good as many patients he has treated. So in my head, you can be a better surgeon in India. So you already see why USMLE is not always better than Indian PG. Similarly, तुम्हारे question पे depend करेगा क्या तुम्हारे लिए बढ़िया. Similarly, for PLAB, I believe like PLAB is a system which is so beautifully framed. It is all under NHS. So it makes an above average human or a below average human be a part of the system. So if you want to be a part of the system and you don't have any out of the box ambitions like, oh, I want to start a company or something like that, PLAB is super beautiful for you. It is a safe system. You get enough income. You have a good lifestyle. But like I had this dream of like starting a company to revolutionize medical education. For me, US is a better place in that sense. Although it's not the best place to live, not at all. There is a lot of variation. But again, like choose your priorities and then take your decision is my message.
इन सब बातों से ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Basically, the thing that matters is कि what you exactly want in your life and what pathway you want to go forward with. If something like NEET PG आपको सूट करता है, go forward with it. No problem in that. किसी को USMLE, किसी को PLAB सूट करेगा. And the struggle is real. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई भी pathway easily आपको मिल जाएगा.
It's a very different struggle, and at the end of it, एक सवाल का जवाब तुम्हारे पास होना चाहिए, क्या तुम खुश हो? और अगर उसका जवाब हाँ है, तो you don't need to answer to anyone.
कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता उसके बाद. यदि आप खुश हैं अपनी लाइफ में, that's it, that's all. How was your MBBS life and MBBS में क्या मजे किए? How basically you transformed into something कि अब steps के लिए भी serious हो जाना and moving forward with the prep phase and all.
So I understand there is this perception about anyone who scores well or जिन्हें लोग toppers कहते हैं. I have a very strong opinion that ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि you have to sacrifice your life to score well or to reach a certain point. Every phase in your life, every year in your life is meant to be enjoyed, celebrated and performed in balance. And I think MBBS सबसे खूबसूरत journey है if it is taken the right way, because you are getting to live 5-6 years of your life with different phases. Everyone is going through traumas. जो तुम्हारे first year में friends हैं, वो third year में नहीं मिल रहे हैं. Third year में अलग relationships बन रहे हैं. Fifth year में okay, everyone is cribbing about studies, but everyone is enjoying and they should. So similarly, I had always known in my head that I know it is possible. I am smart enough. अगर मैं third year में अपनी USMLE की journey start कर दूंगा, so I can crack it with pretty good marks. But that is not how I think. I think मेरे लिए जिंदगी में अगर मैं 29 पे डॉक्टर बन रहा हूँ या 28 पे डॉक्टर बन रहा हूँ, no one is gonna bother. And most importantly, I should not myself. What will matter to me is if I have lived those years to my satisfaction. That can include enjoying and that can include studying in the most effective way possible. Like I believed कि during my MBBS internship अगर मेरी खत्म होती है, so I have a better understanding of all the concepts, right? अगर मैं वही चीज third prof में पढ़ रहा हूँ, so मुझे extra effort डालना पड़ रहा है and उसके बाद भी मैं उस understanding पे नहीं पहुंच सकता, because there is a reason that हर साल specific number of subjects हैं.
Exactly.
The amount of doctor I became after my final year exams was 80% of what I am, because एक तुम्हारे को perspective मिल जाता है about how anything is fair game. तुम्हारे पेपर में कुछ भी आ सकता है. There is no next year कि इसको अगले साल पढ़ लेंगे, right? So that is very important. That belief is very important. And I am that person who will study not because I want to cram it or I want to crack my exam. During my first 3-4 years, I've attended random classes. Like there is DAMS, I think everyone knows, but that is meant for Indian PG apparently, right? And I knew that I wanted to do USMLE, but I still went ahead and took those classes because I knew I am that person जो backbench पे बैठ के enjoy भी कर सकता है और सुन भी सकता है. Something is going inside my head is important. If I'm not actively studying, so that I should know what works for me, right? Similarly, I was the person जो सबसे छोटी किताबें पढ़ता था क्योंकि मेरी प्रॉब्लम थी मैं पेज A से लेके पेज Z तक एक एक वर्ड पढ़ता था. And if I end up reading big books, तो वो पढ़ाई खत्म ही नहीं होगी. The message being, you should know how you function best, right? And I have no problems in people who want to give their step 1, step 2 in third year. That shows your dedication. But I also have no problem with people who think like it's okay to give it in their internship, like I did. I had the satisfaction of knowing जो मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ वो मुझे अच्छे से समझ आ रहा है और मुझे, and at the same time I have lived my 5 years of MBBS to the fullest. I have had my friendships, I have had my breakups, I have had my trips with friends, I have had my connections across various organizations, and that is how I imagined my MBBS life to be. So ये सब तुम्हारे हाथ में है. अगर तुम किसी को ये बोल के ज्यादा खुश फील करते हो कि मैंने थर्ड ईयर में ही अपना फर्स्ट स्टेप दे दिया and that makes you happy, go for it. But if that's not as much a big deal to you, like for me it doesn't matter to me अगर तुमने थर्ड ईयर में दिया है या फिफ्थ ईयर में दिया है, as long as you are going in line with what you think. So USMLE की सबसे खूबसूरत बात ही है, there is no one correct way. You make your own path. So that's my message.
क्योंकि ये सारी चीजें बहुत कंफ्यूजन रहती है. बेसिक फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन यही आता है, कब स्टार्ट करें प्रिपरेशन. And I'm like, whenever you feel like doing it, whenever you feel confident about it, कि हाँ अब मैं start करूँगा तो like I will ace forward towards it. So it's totally up to you and totally up to the people who really want to decide. If you're giving after second year, it's pretty good. If it works for you, works for you. You have to make a decision कि आप पे क्या काम करता है. What like किससे आप सबसे ज़्यादा benefit उठा सकते हो. There are people in my college जिन्होंने अभी third year में they have cracked step 1, and there will be people जो internship में I am currently in the third year, तो currently internship में जब वो जाएंगे तो maybe they might crack it that as well. तो सबके अपनी strategies हैं, सबके अपने plannings हैं, and there's one goal that everyone fetches when it comes to USMLE. But yes, you're right कि रास्ते अलग-अलग हो सकते हैं.
You make your own path, and I think ये एक बहुत खूबसूरत आदत है जो मैंने खुद को डाली है. When someone asks you ये सही है या गलत है, don't necessarily think in black and white. There can be right ways of doing the right thing, but different for different people. So I always convince people, try think what works best for you. You are your own best friend, right? कोई दो शक्लें सेम नहीं होती तो अकलें तो कैसे ही सेम होंगी, right?
Yes, and also you were a university and state topper in MBBS as well, and not only that, gold medalist in anatomy. काफी आपका MBBS काफी academically and काफी socially भी काफी balanced रहा है, as far as I can imagine.
Yeah. The MBBS topping thing, so I like to put it in a way कि for me, I was never that person जो important mark करवाता था ना अपनी बुक में. So मेरे लिए पूरी बुक उतनी important होती थी. And हुआ ये कि उस साल पता नहीं पेपर सारा according to paper outside marked आ गया. तो मेरे को तो उतना ही difficult लगा. I think लोगों की तैयारी थोड़ी सी कम थी. And that is the reason I ended up scoring better. But I think again it is important to realize तुम्हारी satisfaction, like I remember जब मैं वो exams देके बाहर आया था, I loved my final year exams. I felt so good. I felt like a doctor. I felt like give me a patient and I can tell you how to manage this patient. मतलब not just theoretically. So I think that is much more of an achievement than scoring well or topping, because the truth is there are some politics involved sometimes. So it's not always in your hands. Sometimes बहुत सारा luck factor. Even your handwriting plays a role in the psychology of the checker. So if you don't have a good handwriting, don't think that you are not a good student or whatever. Judge yourself. That is most important. But yes, strive for excellence and the world will chase you for sure.
So moving forward to the main question जो लोग पूछते रहते हैं generally, step 1 से related जितनी भी कहानी है, and I would really like to know कि आपकी क्या कहानी थी, and कैसे start किया, किन sources से start किया, कैसी timeline थी, schedule कैसा बनाया, because MBBS के academic year के साथ काफी hectic सा हो जाता है कि आप अपने books को भी पढ़ते हो, आप USMLE के लिए आप first aid या जो भी resources जो आपने पढ़े होंगे वो सारे resources को भी use, try adding on into your schedule, and सब कुछ आपको manage करके चलना पड़ता है. तो वो कैसा था वो time? How was that?
So let me start by saying the USMLE steps are I think, in my mind, one of the most beautiful exams ever, ever, ever. I even suggest people to USMLE nahi de rahe. If it allows your time and budget or whatever way, you can definitely consider giving them. At least UWorld is a beautiful, beautiful resource. But frankly, I divide USMLE की तैयारी in non-dedicated and dedicated periods, and it is not like जो mostly लोग जैसे सोचते हैं. Whatever you are doing in your MBBS, if you are giving your college exams and you're studying for it, I think they still will help you very indirectly with all your exams, including USMLE. तुम्हारे को एक mindset, एक psychology, एक thinking mechanism वो provide करते हैं. So I think the fact that I studied with all my passion during those 4 years, like there was a time जब मैं forensic पढ़ रहा था, and obviously forensic is not a part of USMLE, right? But I never thought of it like that. I was like, if I'm doing this subject, let me enjoy it. And there was a time my parents got afraid कि बेटा forensic medicine में PG मत कर लेना because you're liking it too much, right? And so you need to show that love and respect to every subject and not think ever like, oh ये तो USMLE में काम नहीं आएगा, ये तो PLAB में काम नहीं आएगा, oh ये इसका question शायद आए ना आए, because that is not how studies are supposed to be done. And trust me, there were questions on my exam that were nowhere in the USMLE या UWorld का syllabus. They were from my instinctive knowledge जो मैंने कहीं NEET PG के लिए या वैसे ही generally तैयारी की थी. And your gut, your instinct will work only if you have knowledge. That is not something जो which God sprinkles in your head. It is based on some hard work that you've sometime done in life. So during my first 4 years of college was when I just stuck to my subjects. Because जब तुम USMLE की dedicated तैयारी कर रहे हो, you will not have the time to delve deep into neuroanatomy or the basics of physiology, because then you are in a very streamlined area. Now you have time only to glimpse and go through very high yield topics. So how do you expect to solve those questions जो out of nowhere आते हैं? They have to ask you questions that will differentiate someone who has just studied and who knows stuff, right? So make sure during that time तुम अपनी MBBS की तैयारी from whatever resource for your own college exams, for your own knowledge you're doing, do that to the best. But coming to the second more asked part, the dedicated resources for USMLE are very important. And the good part is they're very streamlined. They are huge, but they're just a few. UWorld is the gold standard. Pathoma for pathology is amazing as a book. And a lot of people use Sketchy for mnemonics. But I again think, like, I loved micro during my second year. So the fact that I knew micro as such without mnemonics helped me so much appreciate Sketchy as a refresher course, not as a base course. So don't rely on mnemonics like to help you, because that is then cramming, right? If you know the logics, and trust me, you can find logic to subjects like pharma, to subjects like microbiology. Like just by breaking down words, you can find logic in stuff in a lot of things, right? From Staphylococcus aureus में staph का क्या मतलब है to aureus का क्या मतलब है. Everything has logic in medicine, and that's the beauty of it. The second part is one very undervalued resource is something that I loved was called Boards and Beyond. They have some videos which are very concise, very beautiful, because kai resources are a little too much. You don't have a lot of time during your dedicated period. But besides all of this, I have these things regarding USMLE Step 1 specifically compiled in a video that Devesh, you can share in the link on YouTube, because that I think people who are really, really interested and are at that stage in their journey, I think you can use those 10 minutes to watch that video called 10 things regarding USMLE Step 1 that you should absolutely know, but no one tells you about. So that is my message on that.
So when did you give your Step 1? And आपको कितने time लगे to prep all of that? When did you start and आपने exam कब दिया?
So I gave my Step 1 at a time जब वो still was scored. It was not pass and fail. I started my journey alongside internship, but हमारी internship is usually a lot hectic, so we don't get a lot of time. And I had my sister's wedding in between as well. So I took about roughly 7 months to do the whole thing. But I think now, since it's pass and fail, and if you are not considering the time, like if you can give devoted time to step one, like if there is no internship or if you're taking extension, I think it is very much doable in 5 months. But at assuming that you're doing justice to it, assuming you are not thinking कि अब pass fail हो गया, I can cover less stuff. It's not like that. All of your step one is going to come to step two. It's a step for a reason. You can't go to step two without step one.
Step one.
Technically,
Yes.
you can give your step two before, but that is not the right way to go about it, right? So a lot of step one is asked in step two. So make sure you give it the right amount of time. And again, one important thing, I think, Devesh, that might be one of your questions आगे, but because it's relevant, so I'll cover it there. क्या होता है कि हम बहुत बारी स्टेप्स की तैयारी में ये पूछते हैं कि लाइक यू वर्ल्ड को कैसे टैकल करना है. Like some people, there's a whole question bank. Some people like do it like एक बारी systemically वो सारा करते हैं, and then you do it on a random. Yes. I was someone, I knew in my head I can do U word only once, and I am someone जो A to Z explanation पढ़ता है, even if my question is right. So there is no reason I should do it on a systemic. Let me start by doing it on a random test tutored mode, time mode. And that is something that I knew about myself. So again, वो ही हमारा same logic जो हम starting.
Exactly. यदि आप अपने आप को जानते हो तो like you can design it according to your way. Obviously, like resources like first aid and U world ऐसी चीजें हैं, like people design it in a way कि ठीक है systemic वाला पहले पढ़ूंगा and then we'll go forward with one brush up, one revision.
Yeah.
But it definitely depends on how would you like to go forward with this resource. We can only name the resources for you.
Yeah.
How you have to grasp it and what's your way of learning. Like, are you a fast learner or are you a slow reader? It depends on you. Like if you need multiple revisions to memorize things, or you can revise, your pace is slow but you can memorize it for a longer duration. That basically matters, and वो आपको देखना पड़ेगा what works for you.
और इसमें से कुछ भी गलत नहीं है, वो बस तुम
exactly.
तो अगर तुम्हें कभी ये लगता है मैं तो स्लो लर्नर हूँ, that is an excuse. You have to find your strategy to it. अगर तुम slow learner हो, that means you are giving more time to each part. So in a way, if you think about it positively, you know it more than others, right?
Exactly.
So try make, like I was recently told, and I very much believe you can either choose E, excuses from E, or efforts from E. Both start with an E, right? So
if we keep on poking all the excuses and all of that, तो फिर तो हमारा सारा efforts will go in vain, and that's the main point. कोई मतलब नहीं है उस चीज का. Also, I have heard multiple stories ऐसे, like people who like toiled for like 12 months and then attempted the step one. No, वो भी गलत नहीं है. If they want to plan it this way, it's good for them. कोई hard and fast rule नहीं है कि you have to go hard on yourself for like 7 months and then crack it, or 5 months or 6 months. या generally ऐसा.
Whatever works for you, what gives you confidence. But at the same time, Devesh, उसमें भी हमारे पास दो categories of people हैं. Some people who know that I am going to do this in this amount of time and I'm feeling confident in 12 months, which is pretty cool. But then there are those people who might be ready by 6 months and they're like, okay, this friend is giving it in 12 months. I shouldn't give it too early. Let me prepare more. But that is not you. So obviously if given one more month, if I scored 259 in my step one, after one more month of my preparation, I could score 269. Which is very doable. But I have to ask myself, what I want, is it worth spending that time for those extra marks? If I need a 240 to get into neurology, and if I'm getting 259, I am super happy with my scores. 269 is not going to help me super crazily enough, right? So you need to be you need to question yourself. तुम्हारे marks और तुम्हारे time equally valuable है. So it's a very, very intricate balance. So don't just be blinded or don't just be disappointed if you are scoring a 250 and someone else is scoring 252. In a program director's eyes, there are other things that are going to matter. For him, you are almost similar. It doesn't work like the Indian PG system where 1 mark can like change ranks 1,000 times. So it's not like that.
And ये बहुत ज़्यादा matter करता है कि we should focus कि हम कितने टाइम पे अपना प्रिपरेशन खत्म कर रहे हैं, because ये peer pressure यहाँ पर काम नहीं करने वाला है. If you are prepared in 6 months, go forward with 6 months. If your friend has to give in 12 months, he or she will give in 12 months. Simple as that. So it's your journey after all, and this is one thing कि आपको deviate नहीं होना है किसी और को देख, because there will be like friends of yours जो आपके साथ mock test देंगे and they will score better than you, and then you will feel like, oh, like I'm not prepared, but you are confident. Like go forward with your mistakes, improve it, try again. Simple as that.
as Indians हमारे सिस्टम में इतना ingrained है ना competition, like हम अंदर से congratulate बोल रहे हैं पर अंदर से अच्छा तो किसी को नहीं लग रहा है. The most beautiful thing about USMLE is it is your own journey. You are not taking directly anyone else's seat. If you're good enough, you will have your own place. And I've seen people, I think you know about them, sure, who've scored 270s and are not getting seats, and people who are scoring like about 220s getting really good seats, because it is not just about your marks. And I think it is a beautiful platform to inculcate in yourself to help as many people. I think the most beautiful emotion that I have felt during this journey is जैसे जो मेरी journeys के parts हुए हैं, if I can guide someone, and it is just indirectly telling them that if I am helping you, the only way you can pay me back is by helping someone else in this journey, right? So it's a beautiful opportunity to teach yourself that humanity on a bigger scale is about cooperation and not competition.
क्योंकि जब भी हम लोग USMLE के criteria देखते हैं, scores are a part of it, not everything.
Yeah.
There are many more things. There are clinical rotations, ECFM, certifications, आपको तीनों certification होनी चाहिए, and there are LORs and researches, आपकी CV अच्छी होनी चाहिए. There are many more things which we will talk about आगे. But scores एक important हिस्सा है, but इतना भी नहीं है कि you go in the competitive mode and then ruin your complete timeline that you have built for yourself. ये एक problem आती है. Have you given NEET PG by any chance?
Yeah, so I like I told you, I was someone who loved giving exams, and I think that has taught me a lot. So my MBBS के time भी I gave 13 exams, and I think that helped me build this confidence that रात को उठा के मेरा paper ले लो, and I'll feel confident about it. So I even gave my NEET PG exams during the last year. This year was when I didn't give it because I was in US during that time. But it was I did, like, I wanted orthopedic surgery at that time, if at all. So I got my orthopedic surgery during my NEET exam, and then I had to take the hard call. If I again, the backup wala concept, if I do take my surgery here, and at that time my US visa was a question mark, and then I had to go into the situation that if I do this PG, and you understand, Indian PG mein you don't get a lot of time, right? And if I know in my head I have a backup, I might not give in my 100%. And secondly, I think एक बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी सवाल है जो यहाँ पूछना चाहिए एक दूसरे को कि if I want to go into neurology, orthopedic surgery does not add to my CV in any way. It just makes me feel disconnected, distracted, unsure about what I want from life. And that is a big no-no for anyone, especially for program directors in US. If I'm probably doing something in neurology or medicine, I can connect it, right? And then you have to take that hard call. I think अभी भी बहुत सारे final prof में भी बच्चे होते हैं who are like, I don't know, just medicine करनी है या surgery करनी है. You have their own pros and cons, and it is okay. Everyone goes through it, but I would still suggest make up your mind, because practically they are very different things. And I'm sure if you ask yourself enough, there is one thing you want more than the other. And so that was one place that when I gave my NEET PG, to tell myself that, okay, I'm still good at it, to feel myself confident that I can get what I want. And it is me who is choosing to not take it. So that feeling of being in control of your life is very important. कि एक एग्जाम ने मुझे मना नहीं किया है, मैंने एग्जाम को मना किया. I think choose that in life and try that.
एक थोड़ा खुद पे जब कंट्रोल होता है ना, that's a different level of self confidence that you have within. तो वो आपको काफी बूस्ट करता रहता है. Even if in your tough times, वो आपको काफी बूस्ट करेगा. Like, okay, you can do it. Never give up वाली scene. And there are times where you have to take tougher decisions, like which path to choose and so on. So, like, did you join any like non-PG JR-ship preparing के time पे या नहीं?
So during that time, because I had to, there was this, if I do join a non-JR PG, so I need to complete my internship technically, right? So that was one technical thing, and then that was in the way of me getting a clerkship in US. So that was one reason. But the other thing also I want to highlight यहाँ पे कि a lot of people do that to show कि उनके उसमें gap नहीं पड़ा or they were doing something right during that time. I think हम as Indians ना इसको overthink कर जाते हैं. Sometimes how the program directors think they if I'm a December 2021 graduate or if I am a 2022 graduate, in their head it's not going to make much of a difference. जब हम कहते हैं gap time, that at least involves a couple years, 3 years. So they are also very humans. They don't think of, they understand कि थोड़ा time तो तुम transition में ही लगवा रहे हो.
Exactly.
And like gap year does not necessarily need to be proven by doing something on paper. I have a lot of friends who are doing nothing, but on paper they have their job certificate from places. That does not, like, as a program director, if I'm in US, I know that this is possible. So I will rather choose to select those people who can express what they are doing. Like, agar main last week, I was at a neurology conference at NIMHANS where I met you, right? So that on paper might not fulfill my gap year ka criteria. I was still in my gap, or I've done my graduation. But if I talk about this to those program directors, it reflects my interest in neurology, right? That this guy is still pursuing his passions for what he's interested in. So whatever you are doing, take it realistically. Don't just join a JR ship because you want to take over your gap year, because that can be hectic too. और जिस गली जाना नहीं तो उस जगह का रास्ता लेके करना क्या. So if you are genuinely considering it, please go ahead. But if not, don't take it just to have it cover other things.
Okay. And चलो academics तो बहुत ज़्यादा important है ही step 1 के लिए, काफी ज़्यादा important है. And USMLE journey के लिए what extra you did, जैसे research हो गया या CV कैसे build किया आपने, what were the things that you focused on and you moved forward with?
Okay, so like the headline of what they expect if you apply for USMLE, according to me, is how passionate you are towards what you are applying for. In my case, it is neurology. So I am as much a novice as anyone else is, a little better in the process, a little ahead in the process, that's it. But you never know it till you're doing stuff, right? So during my college years, I did not know what CV is. How do you build your CV? Exactly what a lot of people feel today. And trust me, whatever you're doing, whatever your passions are, from traveling to watching movies to certain some things that you will have that you don't consider as achievements, trust me, will be the important things you will be talking in your interviews. So make sure you make a note of everything that you're doing. And once you're consciously into it, I used to attend conferences because I wanted to, not because I wanted to build my CV. I did a lot of quizzes because I wanted to, not because it was for my CV. And gradually I realized, oh, I love quizzes. I love participating in quizzes. I participated in 100 quizzes, and what people saw was the 10 that I won. And gradually I became better, and then I started with, and I still lose, and it's okay. So I've killed the fear of losing, because the beauty of participation is so much, because quizzes too are supposed to be unpredictable ना यार. अगर same ही बंदा जीत ही जाएगा हर बारी तो फिर quiz क्यों है वो? So don't think what the world thinks. Participate in things, and everything you're doing is going in your CV, right? Similarly, now I reached a stage where I thought that I've participated in enough quizzes, but what is my passion? I think this quiz could have been done better. So let me just not blame it and let me do it myself. And then I realized this about myself. I loved making quizzes and I loved teaching people. And I took from a college level to a national level to an international level. And over years, all of this happened. And the puri journey mein, mere dimag mein CV nahi thi. But when I started making my CV, I had to filter out stuff. क्योंकि वो इतना सारा सामान हो गया था, and that is a beautiful feeling to have, right? Yeah. So and similarly, what you want in your CV is not one thing. It needs to be diverse. You don't want to be like just so good at one thing and zero at all the other things. They want someone who's passionate, who can talk about stuff. I am a poet. I write poetry, so that was in my CV, and to the extent I had a poem in my personal statement, which is like unheard of, because that felt right to me. And again, like we said, what feels right to you, right? Yeah. And and I'm not saying that you should start writing poetry or you should start participating in quizzes, but there are things that you only do. Know that and add it to your CV. If you are so good at communication skills, if you are so good at helping people out, if I like teaching, so I started my YouTube channel and I started putting out some videos on it, and that went into my CV, and that went into and you have to be smart enough how you put it in your CV. I put it like as links in my CV because no one has time to go to my YouTube channel and start searching. And trust me, in my interviews, like program directors told me that they saw my YouTube channel, they saw my videos, and I was like, that is so cool. Like you are going the extra mile to just make sure, क्योंकि उन्होंने आपको 4 साल के लिए रखना है. They don't want to have someone they don't like. They want to add a member to their family. And everything you're doing goes into your CV, and you have only very limited words to add to your CV. So I was late in my head to start with all of it. I joined organizations in my 3rd year. I was fortunate enough that what I liked, people saw it in me, and I was given the opportunity to be the VOCI of AMSA India. I wasn't really as good before as this opportunity made me. So no one is born with talents. I was a decent, okay guy who liked interacting, but my skills to communicate, my skills of networking became after those opportunities came to me. So never think that किसी इंसान ये तो naturally born ही talented है. There is a lot of hard work that you can also do to acquire that skill consciously. So all of that, everything you can think of can go into your CV. Yes, it requires deliberate effort. घर पे बैठे बैठे कुछ नहीं होगा. At least be a part of organizations. Be ready to participate. Let go of that fear कि इसमें नहीं जीतूंगा तो बेइज्जती हो जाएगी. You are your only critique who matters. So that's about it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of thinking ki the more certificates you have, the better, and something like that. My take is ki you need to filter out at the end of the day, as you said, कि आपके पास इतनी सारी चीजें platter पे थी that you really need to filter out कि हाँ ये रखना चाहिए, ये रखना चाहिए. So the best part is कि the more you participate, वो सब सारा fear आपका kill करता जाएगा धीरे धीरे. If you're not participating in quizzes, start participating. You might lose 1, 2, but you will understand the crux of it, how it works, and baki sari cheez. There are many events. There are hackathons going on all over the country right now. That's a very good source of networking, communication, brainstorming as well. Participate in international hackathons as well, जहाँ पे दूसरे country के लोग आते हैं, and you can talk to them, understand their thing, and then work upon a project. That is something really beautiful. Same goes with the research as well.
The same thing, I understand 90% of the people will be like, हमने कभी hackathon किया नहीं है, हमने कभी research किया नहीं है, we don't know what it is, and that leads to them never participating. But even if we did it, the first time we did it, we did not know anything about it. I'm still not a very professional at research. I have 6 to 7 researches, including a few cases, but which is not people have done way more than that.
Way more, yes, exactly.
The point being, you have to justify yourself. जो मेरा काम है वो neuro relevant है, वो मेरा काम है जो मुझे बताता है, oh, I know the basics of it. I have जो initial researches were to understand how research is done. The later researches were in the field of neurology. So it is a step-by-step process. Similarly, I had this fear कि hackathon में होता क्या है यार, जीत तो कभी सकते नहीं है. I don't know what it is. But everyone who's participating, this trend is new in India, and so it is new for everyone. So you jump into it right there and then. And that, I remember there was this competition at Philippius as well at JSS Mysore. So I had a hackathon competition where I presented an idea of a med band, which was very new for me. And somehow it did win. So it just helps you boost up that confidence that, okay, that you are good enough. And that will be possible only if you are participating. So read the guidelines and think that isko kaise karna hai, because that is what everyone else is doing. Don't be afraid of research. Attend the workshops that AMSA, a lot of places offer. Learn, have the inquisitiveness to learn, and you'll be fine.
I participated in the first hackathon जब 2019, I think 2020 जब COVID वाला year था and everything went online. So there were काफी सारे events that were happening एक time पे. And I remember the first hackathon I participated was the AMSA International Big Family Day Hackathon.
Yeah.
Very new to the concept of hackathon. Till date, I have participated in somewhat around 5 or 6 hackathons, and I tend to participate more in this year as well.
Yeah.
Because that is something उसके लिए मैं time निकाल सकता हूँ. तो मैंने अपना एक ढूंढ लिया है कि okay, this is the thing I would really like to go forward with. So I kept on participating.
Similarly, like giving everyone a live example, the passion with which you are talking about hackathons is going to be huge in your CV. So anything that you are good at goes in your CV and goes in your interview. So that is how you find stuff, right? So
simple as that. The first hackathon not very well, second not very well, third, fourth, and finally I started winning at hackathons. And when it goes on for a streak, you enjoy the process, and that gives you a good amount of confidence. And वो काफी अच्छी feeling है to pursue something new in life and be good at it. So अभी भाई काफी अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके. And यहाँ से segment हमारा Taranpreet will handle, who is basically a national officer of AMSA India, most evidently working in the marketing and sponsorship department. So वो यहाँ से lead forward करेगा, leading to other questions that related to USM.
Hi Taran, I'm good. How about you? कैसे चल रही है जिंदगी?
I'm good. बढ़िया बढ़िया. तो स्टेप 1 के बारे में तो वैसे ही बहुत ज्यादा बात होती है और मटेरियल भी काफी ज्यादा है. बट अब क्योंकि स्टेप 1 सिर्फ पास फेल हो गया है, तो स्टेप 2 अब ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, स्टेप 2 स्टेप 3. तो उसके बारे में अगर कुछ बता सकते हो आप?
Understandably, step 2 is the only objective parameter that now the program directors have, especially for international medical graduates, right? So I don't think so कुछ ज़्यादा doubt है इस चीज़ में कि the importance of step 2 is going to be much more important now. So make sure everyone is giving it adequate time, which I'll tell about in a few tips as well. But at the same time, as I said before, don't underestimate the importance of step 1 as well. Although you don't have your scores anymore, so that is helpful that you can choose to perform a little under well, but don't let that compromise your preparation, because your step 2 ki 50, 60, 65, 70% preparation is step 1 ki preparation. Like the question is going to ask you the answer of step 1 pehle and build up on it. So if you are not preparing your step 1 enough, it will definitely reflect on your step 2 scores. So that is the reason that I tell you to concentrate on it. But besides that, I think step 2 be 5-6 years ago used to be a very shorter question bank. People used to say that that can be done in 3-4 months, 3 months. Not anymore. I don't even recommend that. I think 5-6 months are decent, good enough, not less, not more, to give your step 2. It gets frustrating अगर आप ये सोच के एंटर करते हो कि अभी भी स्टेप 1 दिया इतना पढ़ के तो अब ये भी जल्दी से हो जाए. जल्दी से तो नहीं होगा और जल्दी से होना भी नहीं चाहिए. Take it the amount of time that it requires. Secondly, it's very different from step 1 and it teaches you very different things. Step 1 में every question will, if you've read it, you will know this is the correct answer. Step 2 में everything will seem the right answer. And there's a reason there is one correct answer, the next best possible step. जिसमें next की भी importance है, best की भी importance है और possible की भी importance है. So that teaches you in a real life scenario कि ये सब चीजें possible हैं, पर तुम actual life में क्यों क्या करोगे, right? So अगर किसी situation में diagnosis से पहले life saving treatment ज़्यादा important है, तो वो important है. And I'm giving you a really simple example here. There will be days and questions which will seem all possibly right, and it's okay to be wrong. And step 2 के exam के बाद I genuinely felt that मैं exam तो complete कर रहा हूँ, but I have no idea if I fail, if I pass, and that happens to everyone because 9 hours long giving an exam is bonkers.
I get it.
It's bonkers. So complete your exam, prepare the best possible way. I have a few specific tips for people who are preparing for step 2. A lot of it stem from the same step 1 video that I have already shared. But I would really advise everyone to concentrate on studying while they're studying अच्छे से with the same resources. Boards and Beyond is amazing for step 2. A lot of people don't know about it because step 2 में हमारे पास first aid इतनी अच्छी नहीं होती है. So you need one resource to consolidate information, and I think Boards and Beyond is amazing. So not keeping this information to myself because I want everyone to have the same resources so that you can do the best of what you are, right? And thirdly, during the exam day and close to the exam day, stop stressing out. Don't overthink. Trust yourself. जो तुमने तैयारी कर लिया, you'll be good. And lastly, very important, prepare how you go on the exam day. Get your coffee, get your sleep. Everything is very important. Like what you've learned, getting it on the exam day is very important. How you manage breaks is very important. So I'll make a specific video on those little things, but I think you get the gist of it.
Yeah, we'll share the link of the video. Step 3 can be same.
So a little highlight about how step 3 works. Step 3 is, a lot of people don't know there is a step 3, but there is a step 3. So step 3 is not mandatory for you to enter your residency. It's the most important information. So it does not need to be your priority while applying for residency. Not your priority. Your priority is to get into the system, which should matter the most. But yes, if given, it really helps you both in improving your application and also avoiding the stress that you might have during your residency, because step 3 आपको अपनी residency में देना पड़ेगा फिर भी, most probably during your first year. And please listen carefully. Step 3 is 16 hours long. Yes, 16 hours long over 2 days. So there's a whole different combination of strategies that need to be shared with you to tell you how to give your step 3, but that can only be given in US. So what those dates, the 2 dates for step 3 have to be taken in the same place in the US. And they stem a lot from step 1 and step 2. It's a combination of step 1 and step 2, along with CCS cases, which are simulated cases about how you will manage patients. Frankly, I loved the exam because it helps you consider how the American system works, how you think. So it's a beautiful exam, but technically you are only supposed to pass it. You get a score, which I think is important, at least to me. And I would say, like, if someone scores a little less in step 2, step 3 can be your Phoenix force to help you show that your score might have been not as much good as much you are capable. So you can improve on your step 3 score. But like, don't give your step 3 only for the sake of it, because I think if you score low on step 3, it shows me that you weren't serious enough. Rather than, if you're not prepared, don't give your step 3. Give it later, right? So that's a lot of details that we can talk about step 3 later, but that is the gist of it. Know that there is a step 3.
Thanks a lot. तो ECFMG certification के बारे में बता सकते हो अगर थोड़ा कि process क्या and how to go about it?
Okay, so I think एक बहुत बड़ी confusion IMGs के लिए होती है. बहुत सारी abbreviations हैं हमारे पास. ECFMG, my ERAS, ESMWP, and then OASIS. So all of these things are very specific organizations. So as IMGs, International Medical Graduates, is one exam which is given both by American graduates and you. So that's a beautiful exam जो तुम्हारे को same platform पे compare करता है. But your degrees, your medical degrees of graduations are not standardized. So ECFMG is that organization in US that takes an international medical graduate and certifies that inki degree is good enough to be considered in US. That is the mota gist of it. So if you ask a lot of program directors or American graduates, they might not even be aware about it because उनका इससे कोई लेना देना नहीं. ये सिर्फ international medical graduates के लिए है. और residency के लिए, before you apply for your match, it is important to be ECFMG certified. ECFMG certification की process starts the day you start to take your date for step 1. Because step 1 देने के लिए तुम्हारे को एक ECFMG ID चाहिए, which is the same as USMLE ID. So those are the same things. So don't get confused later. But to complete that certification process, you need a few prerequisites. जो हैं as follows. Your USMLE step 1 needs to be done. Your USMLE step 2 needs to be done. You need to pass them both. Your OET exam needs to be done, which is the Occupational English Test Proficiency Test. Okay. And fourth, the credentials of your degree need to be submitted by your college to ECFMG. जब ये तुम्हारी 4 चीजें certified हो जाती हैं, and you get, and they get that you have a good character from your state medical council, is when they will verify your documents and you will get a certificate. Okay, that this Dr. Avi Singh is ECFMG certified now. That is when you can apply for your match or to get into residency. Importantly, as said before, you don't require your step 3 to be ECFMG certified, right? Because you can do it later as well.
Cool. अब एक्स्ट्रा जो करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज चाहिए होती है रेजिडेंसी मैच के लिए, जैसे रिसर्च करते हैं लोग, तो रिसर्च के बारे में थोड़ा बता दो कि और हमें किस टॉपिक पे रिसर्च करनी चाहिए जो हमारे ब्रांच के साथ अलाइन करे.
Absolutely.
कैसे टॉपिक ढूंढते हैं हम?
That is again the most important thing. Things, whatever you do, including research, have to necessarily be aligned with your branch, what you're eyeing for, right? Yeah. So, अगर मैं किसी से research मांग रहा हूँ, so that I have majorly two goals from expectations from them. अगर आपने research करी हुई है, tells me that you know how to do research or you know the basics of it. कल को in my program, if I ask you to do research, you are a good candidate. You are not someone research क्या होती है. The second thing is, it is your opportunity to show me passion towards your field, right? How else do I show that I'm passionate towards surgery? I cannot do surgeries in India, right? As a student, but I can probably do research in surgery. That is the only way I can show my passion. There are other things you can show your passion towards, like if I am applying for surgery and I have done residency in India as a surgeon, I can show that I have assisted surgeries and stuff, but not everyone can do that. Yeah. Secondly, don't overestimate research, but don't underestimate research. Some programs are research heavy. So Mayo will expect you to do research. Harvard will expect you to do research. So it's not realistic. You're expecting to match there without a lot of research. And sometimes they will expect research from their own place. So India mein research alag tarike se hoti hai. So it is not the same as doing research in an American system, right? So be realistic, but yes, doing research and obviously trying to present it at places and publishing it in good journals is important, because that is what validates your research, right? So start doing it at an early age, because then you have time to take that research to a longer, further place, because it's not a one-day job, right? Secondly, some streams, some branches are more research heavy, like neurology is relatively important for research because there is a lot of research going on in life on it. But like in medicine, there are a lot of community-based programs that might not require you to do a lot of research. So you can expect to match with a single case presentation, or if you're fortunate, maybe even without that. So I think it's very important to be in line with what you want and what is expected out of you. Think about it, research about what you want, and then make your decision about what you want. Like if you're doing surgery or obs-gynae or dermatology, I don't think it is realistic to think that you will match without research. But for medicine, don't necessarily like spend a lot of time on research if not really necessary to where you want to match.
Cool. Clinical rotations के बारे में भी बता दो थोड़ा, कि how to apply for externships and कब करें, visa का expenditure कितना होता है?
Okay, so I think there are a few questions जो है ना, rotations. I would like to first clarify terminology for a lot of people. People are confused between rotations, electives, clerkships, externships, internships. At the heart of it, consider it all US clinical experience. Okay, that आप US में you know how to work in the system. Okay, so if you are a student and you go, it is called a clerkship. If you go after your graduation, it's called an externship, which if it is hands-on, it is hands-on. If it is not, then it is an observership. Okay, but all of it are US clinical experiences. Obviously, it's better if you have hands-on experience, and few places offer externships, more offer clerkships. That is why I think a lot of people do extend their internships in India, because they're still students. But whatever way, manage to get some US clinical experience. Now, what happens is because of the visa situations and a lot of times the expenditures, a lot of people are not able to go physically to US. So in recent times, the concept of telerotations has come up. All of it are considered rotations, right? But it is understandable कि आप telerotations में hands-on उतना नहीं कर पाओगे. So logically, it is, I will prefer a candidate who has a physical presence in US, because that tells me that this candidate ये US आया हुआ है, इसे cultural shock नहीं लगेगा when I call him to my residency program. He knows how to talk with patients. He knows how to handle the electronic medical record system. Otherwise, it is a big hassle for me अगर मैं अपने program में 6 महीने तुम्हें सिर्फ ये सिखा रहा हूँ कि यार काम कैसे करना है या अमेरिका में लोगों से बात कैसे करना है. So that is proof of the fact that you know you can work in US. That is the reason US clinical experience is important. Now, that is the baseline what any experiences offers. You can choose to get more from that experience. अगर तुम्हारे को एक university experience मिला है, that is better in a hospital, because that tells you that इस इंसान ने एक hospital में भी काम किया हुआ है. So I did have one clerkship in a hospital, which I think helped me personally so much feel so at home in US. It felt like, oh, I wanted to do neurology. This is how a neurology life is. I love it. For my own sake, it was so important. Then I did one experience in a clinic that literally like gave me all the work in terms of looking at the patients, greeting the patients, examining the patients, taking their histories, assisting in Botox for migraines, assisting in EMGs, EEGs, from entering the electronic medical record system. It was super hectic, but at the end of the day, I felt I can do work in US. So that is so important. Third was both outpatient and inpatient. So you can choose to have a combination of these, but at the end of it, make sure that you are getting a letter of recommendation from your attending or anyone who's observing you. And it is important that that letter of recommendation is personalized. Like it is not a generic letter, because wo visible ho jata hai. If you're going to a university, which is huge, but they're giving you a generic letter, I don't trust how much work you have done, right? But if someone's writing their name and email underneath, I know that someone went the extra mile to take guarantee of this man. I can call that man that, okay, he worked here, right? So it works very naturally. And there is this system of waiving off your letter of recommendation, where my letter will be directly uploaded by my attending, and it will not be seen by me, because that increases the validity of my letter. Agar main apna letter khud dekh raha hu, obviously it can be like falsified in ways, right? So always waiver your letter and trust जो तुमने काम किया है, तुमने अच्छे से काम किया है, and that person will write a good letter for you. Be the best version of yourself and go about it. Last question, Taran, you asked me about the expenses also regarding rotations, right? So currently a lot of places don't offer rotations for free. So because of COVID, a lot of people do take paid rotations, and it is okay. It is understandable. But as long as your concern of getting a personalized LOR is important, getting a good rotation where you're getting experiences being fulfilled. So make sure you get a lot of advice from people who have been to that rotation for that specific branch from that place, because those will be the people who will tell you the most truth about how was their experience, right? And overall, roughly a rotation can cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 per rotation for 1 month. On an average, I would say $2,000. So it's not very cheap. But if you send your CVs to random places, to a lot of good universities, like I got a clerkship without paying a single penny, and that was one of my best rotations. So you have to be smart enough, but at the same time, save your time, because if you're getting a paid rotation, you will probably get your invitation letter sooner, which can help you with your visa process also. So it's a lot of little things you need to balance. Get one paid, get one unpaid, get your invitation letter, get your visa. So you need to be very smart and personalize your situation according to yourself, right? So that was about rotations.
And on experience से सीखने भी बहुत मिलेगा और motivate भी होता है बंदा खुद, morale boost होता है.
Absolutely.
So what all is basically covered in all the steps? Total, तीनों.
You mean in terms of the content?
Yeah.
Okay. So the step one is your basic sciences, all your biochemistry, all your pathways, all your pharmacology, medications. A part of it is also communications, how you communicate with patients. But your basic sciences like pathology, basics of cardiology. Your step two builds on your step one, because it's a step, but it tells you how do you deal with patients. So your clinical knowledge, it's step 2 CK. So how will you tackle this patient? How, if an 80-year-old woman comes to you with acute delirium, what is the next medication you give, right? You have to avoid benzodiazepines in someone who has a history of substance abuse because they have addictive potential. Things like that help you build your clinical knowledge. And step 3 is basically a combination of step 1 and step 2 along with the clinical case simulation cases that I told you. So you'll get a patient who just arrived to your hospital with a trauma history and he's unconscious. How do you deal with that patient? So starting from Glasgow Coma Scale to getting his IV access done, to getting him on fluids, to getting him on medications, to getting him on doctors, to getting consults, to ultimately giving preventive advice about a rehabilitative service. So step 3 is combination of all of that. So step 1 to step 3 overall makes you a complete doctor. But at the heart of it, I think all the knowledge that you have gathered in your MBBS curriculum in India is very important. So yeah, it's all together.
It's put like in a more practical and clinical way.
Yeah.
Avi sir, I hope आपको podcast काफी अच्छा लगा होगा, and I hope you enjoyed. And it is always very pleasant, like, to have such conversation जिसमें we can open up, discuss things, and काफी सारी चीजें sort out होती हैं इससे. So up to you. Any last remarks from your side?
It was, as said, बहुत ही amazing concept and very well executed by Devesh, Taran, and Arsh. I'm glad that I could take out time for this. But at the end, I think I have two messages for everyone who's into this journey. Besides, I think if you want it enough, you will have it. You, no matter whatever anyone says, okay, there's a lot of time, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of unpredictabilities, including visa rejections, including the marks that you've gotten. Just want it enough and grow yourself. Stop blaming your parents for not doing your work right. Stop blaming people around, because you have to own up to what you're doing. If something goes wrong, then take up the responsibility and make it happen right. You will make it happen. And I think the second most important message that I have for everyone is, let USMLE be a journey that elevates you as a person. It's not as much about competition. Try to help as many people as you can in whatever information you've learned, in whatever knowledge that you have, because I think that is one of the most beautiful feelings. Or I think maybe I don't know a lot, but jitna main seekh paya hu, both in terms of academics and in this process, I have tried to give it back, and I hope that I can learn from a lot of people and I can continue to do that. But I'm sure you will have new realizations. Please share that with everyone, because the only way you can give it back to society is by giving it to new people. So all the best to everyone, and all the best to me for the upcoming interviews, importantly.
AMSA India team wishes you very best. You have been a very integral part of AMSA India.
My pleasure, Devesh. It was beautiful seeing you all. Thank you.